coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
Oh, yeah, 100%. John, I remembered the day running a middle school ministry at an event all by myself, super angry because I was doing this all by myself, putting it all together, and Jody, my wife, walks in. She goes, "Why are you doing this alone?"
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. My name is Josh Denhart. We are in the middle of this summer series about ministry coaching. I think it's a value. I think it's a big important thing for you to have somebody in your life that is not attending your church, that you don't report to, that's not in your denomination, and isn't typically in your town. You need somebody else. You need an outside person. And so this little series has two main parts, right? One part is that we're interviewing some lead ministry certified coaches, and we're also doing some interviews with people who are receiving coaching from lead ministry certified coaches. But today on the podcast, we have our friend Rob Quinn. Rob, good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, good seeing you too, man.
You have been a guest on the podcast before, but you are a lead ministry certified coach with some different specialties. And so we're excited for that. Give me just an update. Introduce yourself again to people who may not know you on the podcast, and we'll get started.
Yeah. So like Josh said, my name's Rob Quinn. I've been in ministry for a part of probably 15 to 18 years.
Yeah.
Started out as just a full-time volunteer. And then my wife, Jody, who is also a coach, became our kids ministry director. I was a fireman by trade, fell in love with preteen ministry, started teaching our preteen schools, retired from the fire department. And we shifted churches. That church, I took over Jody's preteen ministry for her again as a volunteer. They brought me on as staff. So I ran preteen, was involved in middle school, high school heavily.
Yeah.
In the 5 years, we fell in love with the next calling of family ministry.
Yes.
So from there, where we're currently at, been in this position, I'm a family ministry pastor at our church. So I have 7 staff underneath me.
Yes.
Rebuilding our kids and student ministries at our church here of about 15 to 1,800 people, and just loving everything. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And in the midst of it all, you're now a lead ministry certified coach, my friend.
Yes. So Jody started serving and started coaching for you. It's been a year now, a year and a half, I think, something like that. And you and I think I talked about it, and Jody and I talked about it, being middle school, preteen, youth guy. What would that look like to coach? So you and I talked last summer, and then came to Kids Matter with you, got my first coach person, and at the same time, hiring on brand new youth guys who have zero experience whatsoever, fresh out of into the world of ministry. I was able to putting them through lead ministry as their coach. And as a team, they're going through it together. They're doing the content, and then I meet with them once a month to go through it. So it's
been fantastic. And you kind of have some expertise in the preteen area, as you said, and you've worked with the group 4, 5, 6, and you've spoken for them nationally. And so we're grateful to have you on the team. Well, here we are, cutting a quick podcast, and we're talking about, of course, the power of ministry coaching. And so I'm going to read to you a couple of quotes, and then I'm going to have you kind of respond to those. But more than anything, I think that it's important for the listeners to understand we have 3 main big buckets that we kind of speak to. First, we kind of try to define it. What is this thing, ministry coaching? Next, we're going to develop it, take it a little bit deeper, more of an interview style with you, Rob, about your experiences, and then kind of a final call to action. Okay, so what is ministry coaching? A ministry coach is a spiritual leader who provides tailored support, tailored guidance, and tailored encouragement to individuals, helping them grow in their faith, their personal development, and in their career in the church. And so kind of give me your take on this. What's your thoughts about this quote? What stands out to you?
Yeah, I think when I read this quote, I link to the couple things that stick out to me are the words support, guidance, and encouragement. I hear those things, and I think in the years I've been, even on the fire department and then in ministry, those are 3 things that we just need in anything that we're doing. I think that people need to be in our lives. God designed us to be in community with each other. And I think at professional working levels, we need those outside influences to talk about things, to process things, for people to call us out when we might be going a different direction. And then just encourage us when we're down, because I think sometimes, especially in ministry, we can get down on ourselves.
Easy.
And sometimes people that have gone before and lived what they're living, saying, "Hey, it's going to be okay. You got this. It's not the end of the world. Let's pivot and let's help you out." So that's kind of what I think.
I love that. We're not intended to be a lone ranger if you're in a ministry context. And so a ministry coach can provide some of that support. So here is another quick definition. I'll read it out loud. What is a ministry coach? Well, ministry coaching is a partnership between a coach and a ministry leader to help them identify their strengths, overcome challenges, and achieve their goals in a faith-based context. It is a collaborative conversation that empowers individuals to live out God's calling and effectively serve in ministry. So what stands out to you here, Rob?
Yeah, when I see that and I read this definition, I go back to, like, when I hear the word coach, sometimes I go back to like that idea of a sports coach, and they just tell you what to do. Like, run the ball this way, block this way, hit the bat, use the bat this way. When I think of ministry coaching, and the words in this is collaborative, and we're partnering together. It's a partnership, right? Like the people I'm coaching, it's all conversational, right? Yes, I have knowledge. Yes, I have material I'm going to teach you. But at the end of the day, every ministry is different. Everybody is different, and how they can interact is different. And the only way to be able to help them is to get to know them, and then have those deep conversations about who they are. So it is a collaborative process. I think sometimes I learn as much from my people coaching as I do of what I'm teaching them or trying, because they've already gone through the material, hopefully, when we do this.
Yes. See, that's the interesting thing.
The collaborative thing.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, Rob, that lead ministry is unique. The coaching through lead ministry is unique because we have this kind of predetermined 12 or 13 full-length courses. And the people who are doing coaching, they go through a portion of those courses, a predetermined number of lessons prior to jumping on a call with us. And so it is guided by some of the material, but it's also a lot of freedom to go, as we call it, off-roading and deal with whatever is going on in their world. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, the reality is it's what we do is called lead ministry, right? And part of it's teaching leadership and how to be a good leader. And if you've been in church a little bit, I'm not trying to knock anybody, but there's a lot of bad leadership out there.
There is.
And people that, and they're not doing it on purpose. They have well intentions to be great leaders, but we all get wrapped up into our stuff. And then their people below them start to struggle, and they don't know how to do that. So they're like, the first 20 minutes of my coaching call half the time is almost therapy.
It is a little bit.
Right. And so, but again, it's that collaborative. It's a partnership. It's let's talk about things. It's not me just getting here. It's not
a one-way street, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And it is funny. We all of us who are certified lead ministry coaches, we all open every single call with the following opening line. At the end of today's call, what would be the biggest win for you? And so it is tailored for them. It's based on where they are. Yes, we have a place that we want to go and lead them, but we can't. It's like what is top of mind for them. I don't want to try. Okay, let's say that my topic of content for that particular day is recruiting. And we're going to really kind of, the content that they were supposed to read and download and watch videos about was about recruiting. However, let's say that they are dealing with an irate and angry parent. Okay, so the content about recruiting probably is going to matter to them. But until we deal with what is pressing in on them, we're not really going to get very far with the recruiting conversation. So really, in a sense, it's where are you at? How can you be supported right now? And then we do both and we do where we need to go, but also what's going on in your world. So couldn't agree more, buddy. It's good stuff. Okay, let's move to this big second bucket that we have, how coaching can support individuals out there in the trenches. And so we already kind of covered this. You've been a coach with us for about a year. We're doing great. This next one, what drew you to be a ministry coach with Lead Ministry?
I think for me, as I transitioned into the position I'm at as the family pastor and building a team and all those things, a lot of the stuff from Lead Ministry, I had to figure out on my own. And when I say that, I had to team up with my wife, Jody, who was well far ahead of me in it. And so I had essentially a live-in coach. With
your wife, because she's a Lead Ministry coach.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So, and she was learning and doing so many of these things before even she got into Lead Ministry. And that's what drew her in, was she was like, holy moly, this stuff is golden. And this is great. And then as I watched her and do that, and I kept tapping into her like, hey, I need to teach my guys something. What's the best way to do this? And she's like, well, use Lead Ministry. How about this? And I'm like, I should do this. She's like, you probably should. She's like, you got a voice. You got a genre of people you could probably connect with. And I'm like, oh, how am I going to throw this on my plate? But it was as I'm leading two brand new middle school and high school directors and looking at all the stuff out there for youth ministry guys and in this genre of leaders, they need this so much, right? They are burning out faster than anything. And it's all because they don't know how to do this stuff. Yes. And I didn't know that anymore until I hired these two guys in. And I'm 2 years in now, and it's like we're finally starting to click.
Yes.
Oh,
well,
I can't do anything.
And one thing that I think is important, Rob, is that I think Lead Ministry in coaching has been helpful for you as a boss.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Some of the stuff I've had to learn. I've gone through the slide deck, so I know what one of the questions are. So I'm just gonna for me, one of the best ones is the lead meeting.
Yes.
Session, because that.
Lead meetings truly crushes. We'll get to that. So how about this? Yeah. How has coaching others benefited you as a person or as a ministry leader?
I would say coaching for me, I'm a pretty relational person. Yes. And I'm somebody that feeds off of other people, conversation and processing and all of those types of things. So I benefit greatly by engaging with people to see where they're at. And then trying to help them see multiple ways to do some things in their
provide
world.
Options.
So, and I think that's a little bit of the fireman in me, because it's like, we never could do everything was done differently in every day, right? So it's like, for me, I could see 6 different ways to do something. Let me help you pick the way that you just want to try a way, rather than, because I think sometimes for me, I get saddened by people who just are stuck and just don't do anything. And I just want them to try
paralysis.
Something.
It's paralysis.
Yes. So for me, what I get out of that is it energizes me to see leaders trying to be better leaders, right? And they may not get it right the first time or the second time, but they're trying and they're reaching. They're not trying to do it alone. So
yes, and
to me, that gives me just. Joy.
And that helps you. That helps you to remind you as well. Yeah. Okay. Can you share a story where coaching somebody else truly ended up blessing you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, wholeheartedly. I mean, I've got these 2 new guys and they're vastly opposite of each other. And as I am coaching both of them along with our kids director, and she's fabulous. So she's perfect almost. But these 2 guys are raw and they're new. And so as I've had to walk them and I've been coaching them through this material, I've had to learn as a leader how to coach differently yet at the same time. So I got these 2 guys that I meet with and they're together 24/7 and I'm teaching them the same stuff. We're talking about the same stuff, but one is getting it in a different way than the other one. So for me, it's expanding my knowledge base, my relational base, and how to learn to read people. So I just feel like that is just, for me, a blessing in my job to be able to help.
That's actually a good point. I think you're bringing up something very important, which is everybody's different. And it's like our children, right? I have 4 kids, and I remember the PE teacher at our school. He pulled us aside one time and he goes, "I'll tell you what, your kids couldn't be any different from one another. They are literally the 4 quadrants of the personality types. And it's so true. And so that stands to reason. And I've seen it play out many, many times, which is what you're alluding to, is that like the one person that's your employee or another key leader or volunteer or employee that you have, they're completely different. And it may be the same material, but the approach that we have to take as coaches is fundamentally different. So for the listener out there, I think there's 2 big points to be made here. Number one, if you have a coach, your coach is going to be teeing up this info. It's hard work on our part. It's hard work to get to know our coachees really, really well, to go, man, what's the nuanced way? What's the half a degree difference to get this person to engage and to blow this material open and to change their lives? And for this other person, it's different. It is not a canned approach, as that definition shared. It is a tailored approach. Now, please understand that if you ever wanted to get ministry coaching, we get to know you. We get to know your nuances and who you are, and we form fit this for you. But if you end up not getting a coach, that's all good. I think another lesson to be learned and gleaned is if you are in leadership and you are leading other people, it behooves you to know them. You have to know the people that you're leading. Everybody is unique. Everybody has a different love language. Everybody has a different method around which they're going to receive information. And that's part of our job as leaders, to learn those that we're leading. So I couldn't agree more, Rob, that it really does take a specialized and nuanced approach when you're dealing with different people. Okay. What do you see as the core benefits of someone receiving coaching from another person, an outside leader like yourself? What do you think are the benefits?
Yeah, I mean, to me, again, I live my life and we build teams, right? You don't do ministry in a bubble. You don't do it alone. And so so I look at coaching and outside coaching as just an extension of my team, right?
There you go.
We talk about, we have the internal church people that are here, but we've got to have people outside, right? Because those of us that work in a church, that we're full-time ministry or part-time ministry or volunteer ministry, there's a level of things that you want to be able to talk about, and then that you can't really talk about without creating stuff that breaks the team environment, right? So for me, I look at that, this is somebody that I can reach out to, I can talk to, I can process, and they don't have any of the church baggage that comes with being part of the church that I'm leading. So for me, having that outside coach, leader, mentor is those people, right? And they're people that can speak into me without any, he's going to look at me differently Sunday morning, right?
Yes. And so you're able to do that for those whom you're coaching. Now, of course, you do some of your coaching. We have a unique structure with you that some of your coaching is happening directly with your internal staff, but you have people that you're coaching that are hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from you. And you're able to be that outside ear for them. And I always tell people, this is always one of my favorites. We lead a house group at our home and have for a long time. And I'll never forget just coming to the realization that when I was on staff at a church, I couldn't at a house group raise my hand similar to the guy that works at Wells Fargo and say, my boss is driving me nuts, because my boss was their senior pastor, those people who were in the room. And so I needed a place and a space outside. And so you as a coach are able to provide that voice and that ear to somebody, which is a judgment-free zone, to go, man, I am struggling. And I think my church leaders are making bad decisions. You can't talk about that with your church people.
Correct. 100%. And as a ministry coach, they're coming to us and we have the opportunity and the blessing to speak into it, right? To with an expertise, with the lead ministry materials and all the sessions and all the things that we can help them through it, versus like somebody just a venting session, right?
That's exactly right.
Like it's like that next level, like we're here for you and we're actually going to give you tools now.
And by the way, it's interesting that you bring this up, because part of my job and your job as a certified lead ministry coach is to really listen and to discern. This is not a gripe session. What it is somebody going, here's my situation. Okay, wait, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Okay. Now that I have, is this person kind of operating this way? Yes. Okay. Understood. Given that I've now gleaned a lot it's like when you go to the doctor, it's a diagnosis.
Yes.
And so as a coach, we're doing a lot of diagnostics to find out the dynamics. And then from that diagnostic kind of discussion thing, we now go, okay, given what you've told me, I think that you should think about this and go in this direction. How do you think this person is going to respond, et cetera? But the point is it's an effort in diagnostics.
Right. 100%. And I think that's what I love about it. It's as a pastor, as somebody who's got to constantly be reading people. And you're always, people come with complaints and prayers and the worst times. And so it's like, you're gifted in it, but you still have to practice that and you get to learn. So in coaching, that's another benefit for me. It's allowing me to do my job better.
Yes. In other words, it's sharpening you as a leader to stand in your church atrium and do the quick diagnostic and help discern about other people. That's really a good point. Now you mentioned this earlier, but speak to it again. What course or courses have benefited you the most, or do you find to be your favorites?
Yeah. I mean, the core three, the retain, the train, and recruit.
Lead volunteers. Lead volunteers, kind of the flagship course. Yeah. And they're things that you can never stop continually learning. I don't care what level you're at, right? At the end of the day, my team dissolves. I've got to be that person. And if I haven't been doing it or been involved in it, it's going to go away. So it's always keeping that muscle memory for those. The one since the position I'm in now that hands down has helped me more than anything is the lead meetings. I come from youth ministry with sharing a admin person, and we ran a resident team to 7 staff, 3 full-timers, 4 part-timers, and the amount of meetings that I get pulled into now, is like, oof. And the lead meetings, the way we break that all down and do that, I use it every week. My assistant and I sit in my office and we plan the agendas out. That's great.
She mails them out. And there's room in there for, buffer room and whatnot. And there's times I scrap everything on there. We just do, how are you doing? Because I know it's been a busy, but I'm able to get my headspace right. My meetings that were hour and a half with nothing are pretty much at that 45 minutes. Even if it goes an hour, it's those last 15 minutes. We're just knuckleheading anyways and just talking about fun stuff. So
really, in a sense, it's the lead meetings framework has tightened up your meetings. It's made your meetings shorter, however, simultaneously more effective.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it used to be, I would just write everything down on my phone for each person. And then I would just go through my phone. Let's talk about this. I could have wrote 17 things down, right? This allows me the week before, what are the top things that we got to hit? Right. Let's hit the 3. Let's talk about, or let's stop. Let's not talk about those 3.
Yes. And we can, kick some of them forward. Well, that's encouraging. I've heard a lot of good feedback about lead meetings. Okay. As we kind of close out, what would you say to someone, in other words, why should others consider getting a ministry coach? What would you say to somebody, Rob Quinn, what would you say to someone who was on the fence about having a ministry coach?
Yeah. So I'm going to dig back into what we're talking about earlier. It's going to depend on context. It's going to depend on the type of person I'm talking to. Is this a seasoned ministry person or is this a brand new ministry person? If it's a brand new ministry person, for me, it's going to reel back onto my 15, 20 years experience of trying things alone. You're not going to make it. You're just not. Statistics tell us that. Research tell us that. If you don't try to do these things, and you can try to figure it out on your own, and some people success, but why would you not take what we've already developed and has been proven to work at hundreds of places and people and let us help you?
In other words,
at the same time,
it's a tried and true process by which somebody out there can not have as many bumps and bruises. I mean, to be real with you,
why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, why reinvent the wheel? Rob, I got to say, what a blessing it would have been if me and you, 15, 20 years ago, had leadministry.com at our disposal.
Oh, yeah, 100%. John, I remembered the day running a middle school ministry at an event all by myself, super angry because I was doing this all by myself, putting it all together, and Jody, my wife, walks in. She goes, "Why are you doing this alone?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Babe, you should never do this alone. You're a fireman. You don't do anything alone. What are you doing this alone for? Where's your team?" And that was the light bulb moment.
Yes.
Why am I doing this alone?
So in other words, like some of the resources with lead ministry that would have, I mean, thank goodness you had your wife, but it would have been a support, and a help to you.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Even now, what about the seasoned leader? We're talking about what would you say to someone who was maybe was on the fence about having a ministry coach? What would you say to the seasoned leader?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit more in-depth, finding out how they're doing, where they're struggling, because we all are struggling in our jobs at something, right? We're all got a pinch point. Where are we at, right? What's going on? Oh, I've been doing this for 15 years. Okay, great. How are your meetings running? How do you coach your lead team people, right? And how do you do that? Is there any conflict that's going on in those things? And start to figure out what they need, and then just, okay, so how do you handle that?
So in other words, it comes back to the diagnosis. So,
and then you might have somebody who'd be like totally can't talk to their team at all. And you're like, okay.
And now we know now we would know where to start, right? Well, the funny thing is
we want to help you.
I have had a number of people who I've done coaching with who have been in ministry for 20, 30 years. And they're like, wow, where's this been? This has been helpful and encouraging. So, I think we both would say, hey, give it a shot, jump in, give it a try. Yes. You have some openings on your roster right now.
Absolutely.
And you are kind of the preteen, middle school, expert and other things as well.
Family pastor. Yeah.
Family, you betcha. Well, this is good. Rob, thank you so much for jumping on today. Yeah. Short little quick podcast here. Grateful for you. Keep up the good work. And gang, this has been yet another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. We're grateful for you. Hey, think about what it might look like for you to have a ministry coach. All right, gang, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.